Hello, welcome to the second edition of the Loose Trunks Rant. Now this week is a very, very special rant. We're going back slightly for this one. It could come from the heart with just pure abuse, but I hate this guy so much that I felt that notes is the best way. And being the 21st century, I have them on my phone. There's no way I could list off this many things about one person. Try and keep my cool. I've had a couple of Sam Adams though, so we'll see how it goes. This edition is on one of the biggest knob cheeses ever to grace the wrestling business, Vince Russo. So the background of Vince Russo, he was the writer for the Raw magazine. They had the WWE magazine and they had the Raw magazine, and the Raw magazine started to feature more edgy content. And as Vince Russo will tell the story, Vince McMahon held a production meeting and he held up the edition of Raw magazine and he said, "This is what we need, pal." And all the other writers, JR, Bruce Pritchard, I think Jim Cornette at the time, all in there, being told to write more Russo. That's what he'll tell you in his book. But if you listen to anyone else's account, you'll realise that Vince Russo is a lying weasel. Okay, that's a theme. So, he became a head writer in WWE. He had Vince McMahon as his filter, as you'd expect. He then went to WCW, where he killed them, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. But it was Vince Russo's fault. So, this is probably where we're going to see a little bit more anger. I've got a list of Vince Russo ideas. Okay? Let's start from the top with some easy ones. So, the Viagra on a pole match. Really? Viagra on a pole match. What has that got to do with wrestling? I mean, as the guys alluded to earlier, nothing on a pole works, let alone Viagra. Well, sorry, dildo on a pole works. But fucking Viagra! Just for added bonus, a leather jacket on a pole match? No. My personal favourite, and I think the Conqueror Doug's favourite match of all time, the Judy Bagwell on a forklift match! She's stood on a fucking forklift! Just raised up, she's just fucking Buff Bagwell's mum. Why is she on a forklift? What's your problem, Russo? Right. Over to the championship side of things. As you know, the big gold belt is an illustrious title, great heritage, goes back quite a lot. Until that fucking little scab got his hands on it, bro. Right, we'll get to that later as well, bro. He made himself WCW champion. He made himself WCW champion. With himself. And if anyone's ever seen an interview of Russo talking about that, he says that it's okay because it was like a screwy finish with the... it's eluding me. I think Booker T was involved. And a cage. I don't know. Someone's going to... If not, Schofield will just edit this out. So it's all fine. Made himself the champion. What's probably worse than making yourself champion? What's worse than that? Yeah, I've got an idea. Vince Russo knows how to make something even worse than making himself champion, bro. And that was making David Arquette the champion. David Arquette, the illustrious gold belt. David Arquette. While we're on championships, Vince Russo, I just need to check the numbers for you, just so I get it right, because it's fucking ridiculous. In the year 2000... there was nearly 20 title changes in 35 weeks. Imagine that happening now. That's Vince Russo. Again, taking that illustrious title and shitting all over it. He's like, had one of his big fat New York bagels, bro, and then just laid a fucking brick on that title. You're a dick. some more really bad ideas. The reverse battle royal. By the way, this is the only one that I'm featuring from TNA. I never ever watched TNA at all because, frankly, it's fucking awful. But I had to include this one in the rant because it's just too much. He had a reverse battle royal. A reverse battle royal. I'm out of ideas, bro. Let's just do a Royal Rumble backwards. That'll definitely get over. Why don't you stick your fucking head up your arse, you shitbag. Right, so this was however many wrestlers it was, and exactly how you'd imagine. The key was to get your opponent over the top rope and into the ring. Honestly. Right, if it wasn't so hot in here, I'd be all over the place. Another good Russo idea, which some of you may actually fucking agree with, is the Brawl for All was his idea, mainly because he didn't really like JBL, wanted to see him get knocked out. Some people might agree with that. I personally would like to see Brock Lesnar and Vince Russo in a Brawl for All. That sounds like money to me. Book it. Okay. The cruiserweights in WCW, he single-handedly killed. Making all the Mexican wrestlers in there as well fight over a piñata. That is the booking of a nonce. That is the booking of a nonce. We had the Montreal Screwjob, one of the biggest events in wrestling history. Bret Hart goes to WCW. And Vince Russo, right, that star in WCW, Vince Russo had nothing for him. Don't know. The best there is, the best there was. Why? It's fucking Bret Hart! Vince screwed him! Fuck! Right. So we've deciphered that Russo isn't a creative genius, he's a fucking bellend who nonces. Bellend who nonces. Now, this is the part where I don't need any notes, because this genuinely really annoys me, and this is where I'm going to get very, very angry. Vince Russo these days has, I don't know if anybody keeps up with his Twitter or his podcast or anything. Unfortunately, I'm a massive podcast fan, and he's all over it, bro. Although there's been many a time where I see that Vince Russo's the guest, and I go, could be interesting. I hate that dickhead, I'll listen to it. Get a couple of minutes in, he says bro about 42 times, and I can't do it. He's a dick. Anyway, Vince Russo now on his podcast is doing shows called Castrating the Marks. And the idea is basically he thinks that people like Wade Keller and Jason Powell and those sort of people, and people like us at Loose Trunks, what we do because we love wrestling. His opinion is that if you haven't been in the business and you haven't done this, that and the other, that you don't have an opinion. Do you know what I say, Russo? And there's one of these per rant. I say you are a complete and utter fucking cunt. Because not only that, you're a fucking ingrate. Because without the marks, people like us doing this kind of thing, you would have fucking nothing. Nothing. Fuck all. So why don't you fucking sit on that, bro? You fucking knob cheese. Alright? Don't sit there and castrate these people because you think you're fucking above them when really you've done fuck all. Except kill two companies. You killed WCW. How is that possible? They had a billionaire. You're a cunt. Don't castrate us for what we do. Alright, we love wrestling, and you fucking hate wrestling. You like promos and you like Hollywood, but you were never ever good enough to be a writer there. So why don't you fucking stay at home, right, and fucking finger your arsehole to pictures of China because you're such good fucking mates, and leave your fucking fat nose out of the wrestling business. It's for the better. It's for the better of everyone. Okay? You don't need to. It's not like that smelly Mexican lookalike Roman, okay, we enjoy hating on you, Roman. You're a dick. You killed The Undertaker. But Russo just needs to go away. Just go away. Just go away. Just, please. Just go away! Vince Russo! Fuck! Go away! You suck! That'll do it for the second edition of the Rant. Thanks for having us. Support the page. And please, just take a second out of your day. Please, just take a second out to get on your Twitter account. Go onto Vince Russo's Twitter and call him a cunt. Thanks.